Hey, hello, my name is Leslie Williams and I'm in San Diego, California. I'm making this particular video in La Jolla, which is also in San Diego. And I'm going to fly right into the specific subject matter pertaining to this particular video. And I do apologize for the way I look. I've been sick for the last 3 days. And with a very bad abscess tooth, a sinus infection, and a head cold, all occurring at the same exact time. The purpose of this video is to illustrate to you, well, a story, a parable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the following statements very carefully, and then I'm going to explain the story, and then what you can do if you're interested in seeing if this story was based on fact or myth is to take the descriptions that I state that constructs the story to the internet in order to deconstruct to see if each description is part of the structure of the story. In other words, if I tell you 5 different personality attributes of a person, once those 5 attributes are mentioned, you will pretty much have a pretty good idea of the personality of that person. Well, what I'm going to explain to you right now is the personality of a crime that either did happen or didn't happen. Now, when you look at the amount of Google-generated responses you'll get to each description, you'll automatically be able to deduce that there's a great likelihood that did it really happen or did it not. And I have to make these statements carefully because what I'm actually trying to do for you, fellow American citizens, is to illustrate to you, well, the following are they factual realities concerning the techniques of gang stalking? And if they are, it should give you a very wide opening experience concerning what gang stalking targeted individuals can experience. So you can see their heinous nature of these filthy, whore, literal sewer rats. And that's literally all they are. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start constructing right now the personality attributes of this, either i.e. story, based on fact, or myth. Now, it is as follows. Do you know how a police department and or the FBI or any other skanked out law enforcement agency might have concerning, say if some old granny, she gets robbed down at the 7-Eleven by some low-life criminal, and a police officer answers the call, and she gets knocked down pretty bad. She gets hurt. Police officer comes out. He combs the area, can't find the guy, and then the next day somebody calls the police and says, yeah, I think I might have saw what happened, and I think I might know who did it, but I'm not exactly sure. So the police will come out and he'll get that person's statement, and they'll put their heads together and they'll try and deduce who they might have saw knock this old lady down. He'll get a physical description. He might even go as far as going back to the police department and looking through old mug shots in order to be able to see who might fit this description in reference to any previous offenders that might live in the area or who might have committed a crime in the area. So what they'll basically do, whether they have a in-your-face detailed description or maybe a witness actually identified the actual perpetrator, any which way there's going to be a lineup. Okay, if they have strong enough evidence to believe that probable cause has been established to issue a warrant, they will do so. But what they also might do, though, is bring that poor little old granny into an area in the police department where they'll do a physical lineup, where they will show the person of interest against other people that have similar features. And the reason why they do this is because they want to be able to dismiss all doubt, as much doubt as they possibly can in reference to the actual one that they're factually interested in. If she identifies any of the other ones, then he's got a good chance of getting away because she could not positively ID him. Now, I'm not saying that I'm for this kind of technique, and I'm not saying I'm not for it or against it. That's not the subject matter of this particular video. Understand this. You will like this video if you watch the entire thing. Let me just set this up here real fast. The purpose of this video, well, is it to literally describe to you the filthy, heinous whoredom behind these sewer rats and their mentality in reference to what I've already stated and how that folds into what I'm about to describe. Let's just put it to you this way. Say they took a handicapped young man, middle-aged man, handicapped. He might even have some learning disabilities. And they set him up to be assaulted on a train, a trolley, or a bus. because he was whistleblowing about what was happening to him and what had happened to him in reference to him being a target victim and activist concerning the criminal expeditions of what is known as gang stalking. Now, they had this individual assault him, let's just say, on a trolley. Okay? Bear with me. Hold on a second. Now, we all got a pretty good mind of what a trolley looks like. Not really one of those streetcar trolleys, but a trolley, which is nothing but a bunch of trains that are connected together. Well, they have those in a lot of inner cities nowadays. New York has them, San Diego has them, so on and so forth. These trolleys and buses and stuff like that usually have video cameras. Well, they set this young man who's got learning disabilities and some other problems in reference to, some mental handicaps, just like learning disabilities is all he's got. They set him up to be assaulted on this bus because gang stalking targets are harassed by anybody and everybody that the targeted individual comes in contact with, because it's organized crime in the system that's managing the harassment and using their employment descriptions to do it. Like parole officers, probation officers, police officers, judges, lawyers, doctors, you name it. And they can use their employment descriptions, social services workers, to put innocent human beings on these targeted lists, like the sexual offenders notification, the community notification, or the offenders notification, which they're illegally and criminally using 100% to put completely innocent people on. In other words, you could leave your house after watching this video and go to the grocery store, and maybe you and somebody else got in a verbal altercation, on the way. The driving. I don't know what do they call that? Road rage. Okay. One of them could have been a gang stalker that you had a verbal confrontation with. He wrote down your license plate number. He gives it to his police officer friend who's involved in gang stalking. That guy then puts you on a list and has you gang stalked. That's literally how easy anybody can be put on these lists. Do you understand? And if you knew what I know when it comes to gang stalking, this would infuriate the hell out of you, because they are responsible for murder, rape, torture, false imprisonment, falsely diagnosing targeted individuals with mental diagnoses they don't have, robbery of every form that you can think of. You would not believe the crimes these people are responsible for. Hold on a second. Now, so let me just get, that was the reason why I was telling you that, about how everybody in the community can be brought on board in these campaigns against the target, because these notification systems are being illegally and criminally used to put the targeted individual on. As a result, the lie that is combined with the notification is believed, and the individuals who are notified are told what to do and how to do it, including transportation services, like, but not limited to, your city's bus route, your city's public transportation, whether it be buses, trolleys, or both. Okay, which means that they can work with and in concert with corrupt police departments and or corrupt police officers to stage an assault, and then alter the video of the assault, of the target being assaulted, because they had to, because if they didn't, the video would literally, unaltered, would be able to prove that the assault was staged. So the target individual gets assaulted, they get denied medical help, because they're connected to doctors and hospitals. Then the bus transportation service sends them an altered video. The police never investigate that, the district attorney's office won't investigate that, and the targeted individual was also assaulted one time before that assault and one time since. Okay? Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because the person who had assaulted this young man on the trolley, then they resituated that same person who assaulted this young man on the trolley in a grocery store that the targeted individual was also being gang stalked at, right by their home. And then what they did was they had him walk by this young man a couple times until this young man noticed them. But he wasn't exactly sure, because it had been quite a few months since the assault occurred. That's right. And this young man looked a little bit different on that day. He had different type of clothes on. And he looked a little different. Or maybe he was possibly a look-alike. Remember what I said at the beginning of this video now. You can take every description I state in this video, which I'm doing to construct to you the methodologies of gang stalking, so you can see that they are. And then think to yourself, by putting them all together in your mind to complete the puzzle, is this something, would this be something that they would do? Would they use lookalikes? Would they use an individual to assault a target that's got a twin? Would they have the resources to be able to find a lookalike? Well, I strongly suggest you look at the resources of the Federal Bureau of Investigation along with police departments. They have mug shots that are in books that are that thick, put on shelves that hold volumes and volumes of them. You better believe it wouldn't be hard. You better believe it. But all you gotta do is Google it. You can go to Google right now and type in organized stalking or gang stalking and lookalikes. Now, they know that they have dressed this perpetrator up, or a person who looks like them, in different type of clothes, okay, than what this person remembers them concerning how they were dressed on the day of the assault and on other times that the person had seen this person on the same bus route before the assault. So they would have them walk by him in a grocery store to see if they, to get that person to intentionally notice him, and then to bait him, the victim, to follow him to the back of the store until this guy admitted that he was the one that assaulted him. In other words, like, if you saw somebody that assaulted you, what would you do? Your first instinct, especially since the guy who assaulted the guy in the trolley ran away after the assault, this time that victim probably wouldn't want to let him out of their sight until the police arrived. But since they were a little bit unsure if this was the guy, he stopped and asked them. He says, "Did you ever take this kind of trolley before?" The guy goes, "No," and then he walks to the back of the store. Was he baiting that young man to walk to the back of the store so he could turn around and have him assaulted again and then lie about it? Now, how do you think you would feel if you, as this target, knew the truth of the entire matter that I just described to you? Okay? If you knew that what I described to you right now, literally what I just described to you right now, if you knew that to be the absolute truth, what would you think about the factual reality that the police and also the FBI had these types of logistical, tactical maneuvers to do this against a person? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you research everything that I'm stating to you, like, well, let's just say, for instance, I was assaulted on an MTS bus in California, in San Diego. You can go to Google and YouTube right now and type in "learning disabled woman brutally assaulted on an MTS bus." Then you can go to Google and type in "learning disabled woman exposes how MTS assault video is altered." Boy, that sure is a similar story. Anyways, so the whole goal for them might have been to try to make a police report stating that this person is following people in stores because she believes that this person assaulted her and is gang stalking him. Sorry, I meant to say him. Okay? And she's accusing innocent people who are just in the store of gang stalking him after he's already attempted to make numerous complaints that he's being gang stalked. So we believe that this person is delusional, and even as a result of that, they're putting themselves in harm's way. So they get to walk away with the second assault and more falsified, intentionally made police reports. The whole goal at the end of the day is mental rape. I'm talking about mental rape. Hold on. Because that's what Gang Stalking Expeditions is all about. They want you to feel completely, intentionally, mark that word in your mind, they want you to know that you are intentionally being raped. Okay? That's right. By literally having you brutally assaulted and then calling you delusional about identifying the perpetrator who did it. So, you know, if you take the time to do your research, now, if you think that's bad enough, all you gotta do is really take a look at this. You know, how would you feel if you found out that specific fire department personnel and specific members possibly in the DA's office and definitely members in the police department were directly connected to human trafficking rings? And I'm not just talking about forced labor. These police officers who are involved in gang stalking, they know what would happen to them in prison. Right? They don't mind being part of criminal rings that are sexually enslaving young girls, young boys, young women, and probably even some younger men into these sexual slavery rings where they catch HIVs, where they're beaten, even tortured, sold like animals, okay? But they don't want to go to prison for what they do. See, the way I see it, I'm not built that way to turn another cheek and to say, no, I'm just going to let my brother and my sister, okay, go through something like that. Look, if I was to know, which I do, look, I know what I know. And I don't have a right to keep what I know to myself. I just don't. I don't. And I'm not talking about being a busybody or a troublemaker just because I know something that other people might not know and I want to go out and tell everybody. I don't think so. Go to Google right now and type in The Invisible Crime by Mike Fitzhugh Bell. You don't even have to buy the book. All you got to do is take a look at the cover of it. Okay? Then go to Google and type in electronic torture, electronic rape, technology, and gang stalking at the post office. They can literally have you raped electronically from a distance. Now you might think to yourself, this woman is totally and completely mad and insane. Really? I don't think so. The book was written by a Jewel Crayon, by a postal worker in another state. I'm in California. But there is a victim online by the name of Victoria Rose. Go to Google and type in Victoria Rose, remote neural monitoring, Chula Vista, California. You'll find her documentation file online. Every single thing that Victoria Rose wrote in that documentation file is descriptively and accurately described by Jewel Crayon to a T, the person who wrote the book. Two same exact identical stories by two victims who don't know each other that live in separate states. And true bona fide targets know that electronic rape is a methodology of the technology that gang stalking perpetrators have. And that technology can be found at the very, very bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance, this homepage. It's called Remote Neural Monitoring. And when you open up that PDF link, look for what is called the Phantom Touch. That's right, baby cakes. So somebody broke into your home, implanted you, okay, and started manipulating you neurally and physiologically from a remote distance with technology that you can't see where it's coming from, and would cause you to feel like you're being electronically raped in your private parts, or even electronically sexually stimulated, amongst all the other things that they do. Do you honestly think that you would want this to happen to anybody that you love? Of course not. So, anyways, I decided to share this tidbit of information to you so you can know the filthy, wild, whore sewer rats that are in the system, who get all the photo ops and all the radio interviews online when a firefighter saves a burning house or when a cop rescues a cat from a tree, but they will not expose what's happening to organized gang stalking targets. In fact, you can go to YouTube and Google right now and type in remote neural monitoring in human trafficking, and then go to Google and YouTube and type in neural implants in human trafficking, and you will see that I'm telling you the truth. I made this video for you. And if there's any corrupt San Diego police officers watching this video, I honestly really just can't begin to tell you how much I feel about you. I really can't. And so since I can't, I gotta get. You have a nice day.